Welcome to The Explainer. We're all watching this AI revolution happen in real time. But today, we're going to peel back the curtain a little and ask a simple question. Who's really pulling the strings?
I mean, you see it, right? A new AI model drops, a hot new startup gets funded. It feels like it's happening every single week. It has this energy of a wide open race, where anyone could win. But is that the whole story?
Well, it turns out if you just follow the money, this huge, sprawling, competitive race, it starts to look less like a race and more like, well, a very small, very closed circle. Okay, let's dive in. First up, the Great AI Gold Rush. So this is the story we all see in here, right? Hundreds of startups popping up, new models dropping every week. It feels like this massive wave of innovation is happening everywhere. It's this booming ecosystem where the next big thing could honestly come from a garage somewhere. But that's not quite the full picture. So what's really going on? This is where we start to see the illusion of competition. Because it turns out that pretty much every road in this AI gold rush leads back to just a handful of names. We're talking about Microsoft, Google, Amazon, NVIDIA, and Meta. You can think of them as the 5 gatekeepers, right? They own the clouds, they make the chips, they control the absolute core infrastructure that everything, and I mean everything else, is built on.
So how does this actually work? It's not your classic monopoly. No, it's something a lot more clever, a self-reinforcing system.
Okay, circular oligopoly sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's a market where a few huge companies look like they're competing, but really, they're all interlocked. They invest in each other, they depend on each other. It creates this closed loop of money and control. Put it this way, when everyone at the top profits from everyone else's growth, the game stops being about winning. It's about making sure the game itself never ever changes.
So one of the key moves in this whole playbook is something called the cloud credit trap. And it's brilliant in a way. It starts out looking like incredible generosity, right? A giant like Microsoft or Google gives a promising AI startup, say, $1 million in free cloud credits. But here's the thing, it's not charity, it's a strategic hook. The startup builds its entire system on that cloud. And then the free credits run out. Now they're so deeply integrated, moving is almost impossible. They're locked in, they have to pay full price.
And this is what it looks like in practice. This map really shows you that hidden structure. Let's just trace one of these loops together, okay? So you've got Microsoft investing billions of dollars into OpenAI. What does OpenAI do? They turn around and use that money to buy a mountain of GPUs from NVIDIA to train their models. This, of course, sends NVIDIA's profits through the roof. And guess who one of NVIDIA's biggest customers is? Microsoft. They're buying those exact same chips to power their own cloud services. You see it? It's a perfect, self-sustaining circle of capital. The money just goes round and round.
So what you get is this fascinating dynamic. Publicly, it's all-out war. They're competing in launch races, putting out these bold, competitive statements. It's a whole show. But privately, behind the scenes, they're quietly coordinating on massive compute deals. They're doing joint lobbying efforts. They're even making their APIs just compatible enough to lock everyone into their shared ecosystem. It's not real competition, it's performative competition.
Okay, so if it's not really about profit in the traditional sense, what's the real game here?
This is the crucial part. The stated goal, the one they talk about in public, is all about driving innovation and getting a good return on investment. The usual stuff. But the strategic goal, the real prize, that's about regulatory capture. It's about shaping the laws that will govern AI for decades. It's about making sure their influence is permanent, no matter who actually builds the next cool thing.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Once your models rely on someone's compute and data set, you can't defect without erasing your moat. Think about that. The new kind of power here is algorithmic dependency. A startup's special sauce, their moat, it isn't just their clever code anymore. It's the entire cloud infrastructure it was built on top of. And trying to leave that, that's like trying to move your house brick by brick. You'd have to start over from zero.
Okay, so this isn't just about business strategy. This structure has massive, real-world consequences for all of us.
First, let's talk economics. This system creates a kind of digital inflation. Because the gatekeepers control the supply, they can set the price for training these massive models. And those prices are staggering. So what happens? Well, independent research gets starved of cash because venture capitalists would rather put their money in a safe bet inside one of these ecosystems. The result? All the huge economic gains from AI get concentrated in just a few companies and a few cities. And then there's the political and geostrategic fallout, which is honestly even bigger.
We're at a point where a handful of private companies are basically setting public AI policy for the entire world. And they can get really clever about it. Take AI safety. Sounds great, right? Who doesn't want safe AI? But they can lobby for safety rules that are so expensive and complicated to comply with that only they have the resources to do it. Boom, instant barrier to entry for any smaller competitor. This is literally splitting the world into new power blocks. You've got the US-led compute block and the China-led one. And the new weapons in this new Cold War? Chip export controls.
So, this all leads to a final and maybe a little provocative question we have to ask ourselves.
If every so-called open AI movement is bankrolled by one of the major cloud providers, is it really open? Or is openness just a nice user interface layered on top of a monopoly? So yeah, the next time you hear about some amazing new open AI model that's going to change everything, just ask yourself one little question. Who's paying the cloud bill? Because in this new world, that answer tells you everything you need to know about who's really in charge.